Hello there, my lovelies. This is Brady. And before we get started, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update. So, today, what we're going to be doing, we're not doing a regular episode quite yet, because as I mentioned in the last Side Stories episode, we are starting a new cast with a new story. And with that, I thought, what better way to prepare for that than by actually interviewing the cast and getting to know them a little bit better. And so that's exactly what we have here. We have 5 new cast members. One return cast member from the last arc. And don't worry, we will get back to Akula and the gang later on. But for now, I thought that you guys might want to meet the new cast, meet the new crew. And so let's see what they have to say. Okay, and our first new cast member is, drumroll please, Caleb Burr! Woo!
Woo! How's it going, everybody?
Doing well, doing well. How about yourself?
Good. I'm doing very well. Just feeling good, getting really excited to get this going, so happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we are definitely happy to have you. So, obviously with this, and just we had some, with our regular cast, we had a few little conflicts here and there, so we decided, you know what, we're going to go ahead and let that first cast take a little break, and we're going to have a second cast, and that way we can kind of handle 2 storylines at once. And, my story with D&D is, I didn't get into it until pretty recently, and what really dragged me kicking and screaming into Dungeons & Dragons is when I realized that, it's just long-form improv. I can do that! And so, of course, where do I go for my new cast but the Utah improv community, and that's where I found Caleb.
Yep, exactly. I remember seeing that post. I was so excited.
All right, so Caleb, tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right, well, my name is Caleb. There you go, that's a given. I'm from southern Utah originally. I kind of just grew up all over there. I've been involved with theater and gaming all my life. I started playing video games very, very young. And then that just kind of moved into, playing pretend and telling stories. That's something I've always been a part of.
Right.
Come high school, I actually was the youngest member or class member of my school to join the drama club. I grew up in a very, very small town, and so they had 7th through 12th grade in the same building, but you weren't allowed to join the drama club until you were in 9th grade. And they actually made an exception for me and let me join halfway through 8th grade because they were super desperate.
Right.
And so they had somebody bail on the recent show they were doing, and my English teacher saw me do a presentation where we had to write a script and fun stuff like that, and she asked me to do the part. So that was fun, and then ever since then I was hooked. I did every show in my high school. I eventually became drama club president, just ran that as best as I could. That was so much fun. I learned improv in high school, and that's where I was once again hooked once I learned what it was. And I just like to have fun. I'm glad to be here, and I'm just really excited to see where this goes. And so, yeah.
Oh, I am so excited for this story, for this next arc. I have some fun stuff planned.
Good.
So let's talk a little bit about your D&D experience.
All right, well, I started in high school in sophomore year. I actually had a friend who I would always see him with the D&D books, like writing up games through modules, like in class and stuff, and I was always curious as to what it was. But I grew up in, not my family themselves, but my grandparents were very much a part of that satanic panic.
Right,
and so
right.
they thought it was evil, and so that's what I grew up knowing. Until I talked to him. I was like, hey, bud, what's this all about? And he basically told me what you said. It's just long-form improv. We tell stories, we make characters, and anything you do in a video game, you act it out in real life, only it's better because you get to make the decisions no matter what. They're not scripted decisions. You choose what you want to do and how you want to do it. So,
And then, of course, you're at the mercy of the dice roll. But
Of course. I mean, you've got rules, but it's a little bit more...
Oh, yeah.
I like to think you got a little bit more freedom than you do in a video game.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and that's what got me interested. I played my first character. He was a human ranger, I believe. And so yeah, I mean it was a lot of fun, and ever since then I was hooked, and I just explored. I play a lot of different tabletops, not just D&D. And so yeah, I mean it's one of my favorite things to do, one of my biggest hobbies. So I'm really excited.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit. Now, obviously, we've already made characters for this new arc, and I want to hear a little bit about yours. I know that you are a master of voices, so I'm excited to see what you have in store here.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with a halfling rogue named Roscoe. He's kind of a little mischievous guy. He likes to... I like to think he's naive. He's a little bit naive to the way the world works, but he still does what he needs to do. He grew up in kind of like a mafia family. His mom runs a little halfling mafia, or just an underground. It doesn't have to necessarily be halfling, but she's the boss, and so he grew up around that type of business, shady business and running things. But in his mind, that's just how life is. That's just how it works. It's not necessarily bad. It's just what you do.
Right.
Yeah, and so he decided to head off on his own once he got older, just because, that's what you do. You leave your parents when you grow up. He tried to be a lumberjack. He got married. It was great. Found out that his wife had left him for a gnome, which broke his heart.
Oh,
so,
those gnomes!
I know, right? Curse those gnomes! And so he went back home and just kind of picked up what he knew, And so now he runs for the underground a little bit for his mom, and yeah, he got this little notice for this adventure we're about to go on, and figured, what the heck, let's give it a try.
All right. Speaking of giving it a try, can I hear Roscoe?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, give me one moment. I gotta fall into character. Good morning. My name's Roscoe. I work for me mum. I like to just hang out with my friends. Sometimes we like to get me stubbies and just eat a little bit of a steak, or perhaps a nice salad, nice and light on the tummy. And yeah, I'm about to go out on this adventure with my friends, and it's gonna be great.
I love it.
Thank you. So for our kind listeners, because I know how people can be. Yes, he's a little Kiwi, and I'm still working with the Kiwi thing, but I don't want to go exactly straight Kiwi. I took inspiration from a professional DM known as Matt Mercer, who, when he does his dialects, he'll kind of have them a little off, because we are in a fantasy world, so who's to say that that's not what that accent sounds like from where they're from. And so that's kind of the inspiration I was going for. I was going for a Kiwi, but I kind of wanted to make it my own, so that's what we'll be working with. It should be a good time. I'm really excited.
I'm just excited to, go adventuring with Reese Darby.
There we go. Yeah, it should be a good time.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Caleb, and I definitely look forward to having you as part of this adventure.
You're most welcome, Brady, and I'm looking forward to it as well. Let's get rolling so we can have some fun.
Woo!
For our next contestant, welcome down to the stage, Chase Dickerson! Woo! Okay, I think that for our first question, since we just had that such a high energy introduction, let's say that you were a professional wrestler. What
Like you do.
would be your theme song as you came onto the stage?
I would walk out to the Rickroll. I think,
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
yeah, because I think just me as a wrestler is a joke. So that I'm kind of like pre-pranking people for what they're about to see.
So, Chase, tell me a little bit about your background, where you come from, who you are, what your most deepest, darkest secrets are, or, just whatever. Tell me all about Chase.
Sure. So my trade is I'm a programmer. So I work throughout the day as a programmer, but that's not a lot of laughs.
I've got to
in
say,
programming.
I'm actually kind of shocked that as a programmer, you don't really see yourself as a professional wrestler. Huh. Weird.
Well, I mean, the skills, programming skills translate really well into the ring, so. So for fun, I do improv comedy. I perform with a couple troupes throughout the valley. Laughingstock, Quick Wits, Improvables are the big three. And I love to laugh. I love to play with people, do cooperative work, and just have fun. That's what my whole life is around the improv.
Yeah, what's interesting? I actually brought this up in Caleb's interview as well, but really, I look at D&D more like long form improv than anything else, and so that's obviously why I went to this community.
Yeah, put a bunch of improvisers together, and you can't go wrong. Yeah, D&D started for me back in junior high. I got into 3rd edition. I had some friends that were looking to play, and I became the de facto dungeon master because no one else wanted to.
It's like people are almost nervous to take the power, but the power feels so
great.
good.
But that was actually, I'm so grateful to have that role because as a dungeon master, you are pushed to perform more. To do more voices, to be more creative in kind of descriptions. And that was really, I wasn't even an actor at that time or into drama. I didn't get into acting until college. And so that was just an early taste for me of doing weird characters, and I just loved it. And so I just kept doing it year after year with probably the same group of friends for a long time. And then as different editions came out, 4th, 5th, we jumped onto those. And I started to branch out into some other groups. Down the line, learned out there are other, RPG systems. Started to do Mutants of Masterminds, Chronicles of Amber, the White Wolf? No, that's not right. The werewolf and vampire. I forget what that system's called.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like the Fate system.
Right, yeah. And just had so much fun just going into these different settings and just exploring fantasy, sci-fi, any kind of genre of just role play. I just loved.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to meet your character, and especially to hear your voice, because obviously I want you to introduce your character in character.
Sure.
But, before we do that, I want to know. I mean, you've had a lot of tabletop experience, but what has been your overall just favorite character moment?
My favorite character, I was playing a character who died, and I basically was playing this character from the afterlife the entire time, while the rest of the cast they were still playing their normal characters alive and well, but my character was dead.
I get it. I mean, sometimes you grow attached to these characters, and the dice rolls aren't always exactly kind, so you still want to use the character,
Yeah,
so
and
hey, why not?
I loved the character, and I talked to the DM, and we kept going with it, and I played this role from the afterlife, and had small influences on kind of what went on in the campaign, and to eventually the group got strong enough to resurrect my character. But it was so fun to kind of see that different side of life with a character.
All right, I know that I have talked a lot and said the word character a lot in the last 30 seconds. And I apologize because I'm going to say it a little bit more because I want to know about your character for 1d10 the show.
Hello, my name is Quills, and I am a deep gnome. I'm a wizard, and I always try my best, but I know I'll never be the best.
Huh, a deep gnome wizard. For some reason, I was expecting a deeper voice, like, hey, baby, I'm a gnome.
It's very, very common misconception. Gnomes are small creatures. They have small voices.
Oh, yeah. In our first arc, we actually had this family of gnomes, the Shaw family, and the voice that I chose for all of them, they all had their slight differences, but it was all just kind of nasally and up here and a little bit rushed. And so, yeah, definitely a higher register there.
Yeah, gnomes tend to have that kind of shrill, high-pitched.
So, what exactly are you excited about with this character specifically?
I get so into inner struggles with characters. That is my jam. I love the battle that goes on the field or the physical conflicts, but the struggles that we have ourselves that tell us about who we are and what we're all about. So I'd love to see those in my own characters, and I'd love to see them in other characters.
Oh, so you're telling me he's a deep gnome.
Yes.
Oh yeah, well, I definitely look forward to meeting him a bit more and seeing exactly where his character goes from this point. It'll be a lot of fun. Well, definitely, Chase, I want to say thank you for having this interview with me. We have a lot of fun places that we're going to go with this campaign, and I just can't wait for you all to get there.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super excited for this game, and I know a few of the other players already that we have joining, and I've played with them on stage and done performances with them, so I'm sure this will just be a blast to play around with them.
Oh, yeah. All right, and now we have our next new cast member. Are you ready for this? It's Jason Wilde! Woo!
Yeah!
How's it going, Jason?
It's going a lot better now that you give me that fanfare and introduction.
Well, I mean, I have to. It's my job as a DM. I'm also your hype man.
Oh, I love it. I've never had a DM hype man. This is going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
That would be the bard typically would be the hype man, but I'll go with it.
Yeah, but, our bard that we had in our last arc is busy. So, he's doing other things, so I have to pick up the slack where I can.
I'll roll with it. All
right, so Jason, tell me a little bit about yourself. What you do, where people can find you, etc., etc.
Oh man, I've got all kinds of good stuff, Brady. Here's the deal. I'm from small town southern Illinois, so that means not Chicago, about 5 hours south. It's essentially the South where I'm from. I moved here to Salt Lake a few years ago and got involved with a Quick Wits improv troupe where I perform most Saturdays in Midvale. And through that, I've made a lot of comedy connections in the area, but my day job, surprisingly, comedy doesn't pay the bills. I'm also a teacher. So, yes, I teach 6th grade math. So I'm
working the creative end and the analytical end at the same time. I've got lots of details about myself, but Brady, I'm going to let you guide this interview. So is there anything else you want to know in particular?
Oh yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit more about improv, because obviously, you know, for this arc, I really wanted to focus on the improv community, because improv and D&D really go hand in hand in my mind. And so tell me a little bit more about your improv history, what you enjoy about it, etc.
Sure. Well, I really got started acting, doing straight plays and things like that back in high school, did a lot of stuff in college, and started doing some stand-up. When I moved to Utah, I'm kind of a high anxiety guy. Like, I'm the dude that's very social but also incredibly anxious about it. And so when I moved to Salt Lake, the comedy scene here was a little bit frightening. I stayed back a little bit, started going to school at University of Utah, working on my English degree, and got involved in an improv troupe up there called Slow Children at Play, where I met some great local improvisers like Eb Madsen and CJ Donio. And Eb Madsen brought me into the Quickwits, which is Utah's oldest name in improv. I worked with Quickwits kind of from the bottom up. With that, at the time when I came in, Quickwits was on a very low part of their journey. We were in the loft of Studio 600, which was kind of the LDS teen dance club. And there was always karaoke going on in the adjacent room, and the owner had his dog on the other side. So we had bad karaoke and a barking dog on either side of our improvisation. And it's where I really cut my teeth as far as that stuff goes. We've kind of built back up, bounced around to a few different places. And before I had kids, I went to Chicago and did some stuff at Second City. I got a little training there, and I've kind of worked my way around with different troops in the Valley. Off the Wall and groups like that. Just really exploring the different kinds of improv. I love the collaborative community. Obviously, that's how I got hooked up with you, because there's so many opportunities just from people playing, having fun, and looking for ways to do creative things together, which brings us to where we are today.
Woo! All right. Now, obviously, the improv has a lot to do with bringing us to where we are today, but there is another side of things, and that is the Dungeons und Dragons side of things. So tell me a little bit about your D&D history.
Okay, so back in like 2002, I was dating this woman that was quite a bit older than me, and I started hanging out with her group of friends, and her best friend's husband was working on his MFA in creative writing. He was a novel writer. He wrote comic books, things like that. Just an incredibly creative guy. And one day my girlfriend says, "Hey, we're going to start doing D&D with these guys." And at the time, I was much more interested in partying and doing other things, but it was like a way for me to become friends with my girlfriend's friends. So this guy, this novelist, Steve Sawyer, I think he's got some good short story stuff under his real name, Steve Sawyer, on Amazon, and then he's got all kinds of other stuff out there. Steve Sawyer ran this amazing campaign, and I loved it from the outset because I realized it really is. It's acting. You are acting out stuff. It's fun stuff. I don't know. It was so much more than in my mind. I imagine like dice rolling and moving a little minifig around a grid. So much more than that. So much more fun.
Oh yeah.
And so we did a really incredibly long campaign. I blew my paladin that I had in that group up really high levels. We were going all the time. And then my girlfriend and I broke up, whatever. Me and this guy stayed friends. And then he invited me back in a couple years later. And I started a new campaign with some more serious D&D guys and had a great time there. And then to be honest, when I moved out to Salt Lake, I have not really done much D&D after that other than some improvised Dungeons & Dragons comedy shows.
Ooh.
So you guys are going to be like my resurgence into the D&D world. I know underground gamers have been waiting for the return of Jason Wild to the D&D field, and I'm coming out with you guys.
Very nice, very nice. So now let's talk a little bit about your character that you have for this upcoming arc. What's his name? What's he like? What's his class and race and all that jazz?
All right, we're going the classic. We're going the Sam Raimi Spider-Man to new Spider-Man route. What's going to happen is I've got Lord Cypher Angorium. He's a paladin. He is the exact same paladin that I used in my original D&D campaign. I love this character, but it's a complete reboot. So he's starting from level 1. He's going to build and grow all over again. He's a human. He's a big burly guy. Just imagine like really righteous professional wrestler, slap a lot of gleaming armor on him, give him some kind of two-handed sword, and that is Lord Cypher Angorium. Paladin, the highest ranking and only paladin of the Church of Genericus.
Very nice. Now, does he have a special voice? I mean, you're an actor. I want to hear your character voice.
I'm Lord Cypher Angorium, the highest ranking and only paladin of the Church of Genericus. Evil doers, watch out, because Lord Cypher is coming for you, and I can detect you from far away with Detect Evil from 3.5 or Righteous Sense or whatever it's called in D&D 5.0. Essentially, the voice is going to be my ripoff of the 1990s Tick cartoon. Totally ripping it off. It's totally Lord Cypher.
I was going to say, it sounds very Patrick Warburton.
That's what I'm going for, man.
Awesome.
I'm just all of my comedy. None of it's original. It's all stolen. All the improv is scripted. That's all I'm doing, man. Just stealing good bits and playing them back to you guys.
You know that there's a secret about comedy, and it's that there hasn't been an original idea since 1972.
I heard that somewhere before you said it.
Yay! All right. Well, thanks, Jason. We look forward to having you.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a good time.
Hey, it's me.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. It's been a while. We're going through a transitional phase.
Ooh, but you know, with transitions comes a lot of fun changes, and I think we have some great stuff in store.
I think so too. I think it's going to be really fun with the new stuff we're doing.
Oh yeah. So those of you listening will probably recognize Barry's voice, and that's because Barry is also Carl.
I am Carl. Yes, I am.
But we'll get into that a little bit later because, we didn't really do one of these interviews for our other cast. And so I just want to know a little bit about you, Barry. I mean, I've known you since high school, but...
Right.
But let's find out some more.
Oh, sure. So, I mean, let's talk about me and my adventures through Dungeons and Dragons throughout my life. So actually, it was a family rule of mine, growing up, because my oldest brothers, I mean, they were teenagers when, first edition D&D came out.
Right.
And they were like all stoked for that. And so I grew up in a household where D&D was played like all the time. And naturally, so I wanted to get involved with playing D&D with my brothers and their friends and stuff like that. But there was a family rule that you had to be at least 12 years old to play D&D. I think it really came down to kind of like my parents wanted to be able to make sure I could separate fantasy from reality.
Right.
In the sense that, when someone is being mean to me in the game, that doesn't mean they're being mean to me. They're being mean to my character. And when you're a little bit younger, you have a harder time understanding that. So that's, I actually started playing D&D when I was 12, and by that time it was second edition, or I should say Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or you could refer to it as second edition. And it was super fun. And I actually, I played a little bit when I was 12, but as I started getting a little bit older, especially when I got into high school, I actually would go to my brother's apartment where he was living with, 3 other guys, and we would get together every Saturday or Friday night, and we would play D&D. And it was a huge part of my life throughout high school. I've always played it. And then, of course, we tried other games, other role-playing games, but we always came back to D&D because it is, the bread and butter of role-playing games, so to speak. But it was lots of fun, and it eventually pushed me into other areas of, trying different things. Like, for those of you listeners, if you know what LARPing is, which is live action role playing, it's basically D&D in real life.
Next level D&D.
It really is. And so I actually still do that. And it's super fun. And I actually am now getting my 11-year-old son involved, doing that as well. And it's just super fun. But, still playing D&D, especially, primarily with, Brady and the guys. And it's been lots of fun. So in a nutshell, my D&D history, of course, there's lots of stories that go into that, but we don't necessarily need to go into that.
Right. So now let's talk a little bit about 1D10 the show and your experiences so far. What have your highlights for Carl been?
Oh man, I really, really loved playing Carl. Because I just wanted to play the rogue that wasn't necessarily trying to be sneaky when he is stealing from people. I was sneaky in this fact that I was really good at it, so like sleight of hand type of things. And for those listeners that if you've had the chance to listen to the first season, you'll know that, and everyone's probably anticipating it whenever Carl was introduced to a new character, it didn't matter who that character was, he would always try to pick their pocket. Like, just be like, "Hi, I'm Carl. I pick your pocket." And
in fact, I named the theme that I wrote for Carl, the musical theme, I Pick His Pocket.
Right.
Because, that's Carl in a nutshell.
It really was. And it was really fun playing him like that. I really felt, I was trying to be, comedic relief, being silly all the time, but just trying to do crazy things, like when you gave me the bag that could shrink or disappear or multiply things, and you didn't expect me to like put my evil hamster in the bag right away.
Oh my gosh.
And I just loved everyone's reaction with that. They're like, "Whoa, why are you putting? You're like, you could lose it." I'm like, "Yeah," but I ended up getting like 3 of them.
The thing that I love about Carl is that he just had this good nature. He has this good nature about him where he's just kind of happy-go-lucky almost, and he almost reminds me of a Kender from Dragonlance.
Right, yeah, totally.
Where he's a thief, but he doesn't necessarily care if he gets caught. He's just having fun.
Right. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because in the Dragonlance series there's a very famous Kendrick character, but I loved him because if he got caught with something, he'd be like, "Oh, I just found this on the ground and I was keeping it safe for you." and in my mind that's what Carl would have said if people catching him stealing stuff. It's just like, "Oh, I was just keeping it safe for you and I wasn't taking it."
Oh yeah. So now for this next arc, you're going a little bit of a different direction with your character.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be a rogue this time. I'm going to be a fighter, and not just a regular fighter. There's actually a subclass that was created by the people that do Geek and Sundry. They have a D&D show over there, and one of the guys there, who's the DM, he created this subclass called a gunslinger, and it is exactly what it sounds like. You are essentially a cowboy gunslinger set in the D&D world, and you actually have firearms, and it talks about the process of making them and making your ammunition and how it's actually rare and so it's expensive to do, but it's really fun. So I'm a fighter, but my subclass is a gunslinger, and my character, he'll probably still be pretty casual. I'm not the type to play a dark and brooding character. That's just not how I play my characters. I like to have fun, and with this type of show, with a 1D10, the show is more of a comedic type of show anyway.
Yeah, it is.
And so it's fun to. So I'll still be, fun and casual with them, but there may be some aspects of my character that'll be a little bit more serious than Carl was. But yeah, so I will be a fighter gunslinger, and I'm a half elf. And the way I look, for those people that are thinking how I might look, think facial wise, if you've ever seen or played the video game Overwatch, there's a cowboy character in there. His name is McCree, and I'm thinking he'll look like McCree, but obviously I'll have elf ears, so I'll even have a beard and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting because being an elf and having a beard. But since I'm a half elf, I can do that, so that'll be kind of fun. And I'll look like a classic cowboy. I'll have a cowboy hat. I'll have a long duster jacket, and I'm thinking of maybe being a little almost steampunky too. So maybe some like mechanical stuff on my outfit or even my body or, stuff like that, and just being, having fun with it.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. Now, does your character have a name?
It's kind of funny. He doesn't at this moment in time. I was actually sitting with my wife, and I'm like, I have my character, but I don't have a name. And it's kind of funny. I was like, one of my character inspirations for this character, and Brady, you would know this reference, and is Wax from the Brandon Sanderson Mistborn series.
Yes. Oh.
So I almost want, Wax and Wayne, they're like a mix of the two of them together. I wanted to name my character Wax, but then I was like, is that just so typical to like name your character after a really cool book character? So it could be Wax, but it might be something different. So
okay. And are you going to be using a character voice?
Oh, you know what? I haven't really thought about that yet. I could try.
Okay.
I'm gonna, for those of you listening, I'm actually really excited because I have the privilege of being in a group with a bunch of fantastic actors, and they, I know some of them are planning to do specific character voices, and so that I'm really excited for that. I might try something. I've never been the best with voices, but that could make it even more funny that way. So everyone should look forward to that, though. Not necessarily for me, but the other actors and everything. It'll be pretty awesome.
All right. So basically, in 2 weeks from the time that this episode is posted, you will find out exactly what this character is named, and we'll see if his voice is a little bit different than Carl's was.
That's right. Maybe I'll go something more, down here and talk or something. I don't know. I'll have to play with it.
Awesome.
I won't be like, yay, I'm Carl.
All right. Well, thank you, Barry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm excited, and we'll get this show on the road and have some more craziness to have for everybody.
Let's get this thing going. Woo! All right, and now we have our last new member. It is Blake Haywood. Woo! How's it going, Blake?
That's the me. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Nervous. Well, nervous but excited. Well, nervous but excited, but also anxious. All the feelings. New to D&D, but it'll be good. It'll be good. Excited. Let's just end with excited because there's too many words.
Yes. All right, so Blake is actually my brother-in-law. He is my wife's brother, and so he's also proof that nepotism is alive and well in America today.
You married my sister, man.
Yeah, I did. And I like her. Ooh. So, Blake, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Where can people find you, maybe outside of this podcast?
You can find me at my home. Just kidding. My address is this find me up here. Just go here. No, so I do. I guess my job. My job. Okay, I'm going to tell you my job. I do graphic design. I'm a graphic designer for a company up in Layton called Fourth Gear. It's a design and marketing firm. It's a lot of fun. A lot of busy work. Not busy work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of good work up there. But been a graphic designer for a number of years. Been doing that. I've been doing as well comedy improv throughout Utah for about 10 years. Well, no, it's a little less than 10, but getting there. And yeah, I enjoy it. Been enjoying the comedy scene, doing stuff. Doing some shows out in Magna, and then some shows up down recently. Well, not recently, for the past let's say 6 or 7 years. I've been doing with improv down at Quickwits down in Midvale. And that's where I'm at right now. Find my stuff. I mean, yeah, obviously I'm on Facebook. If you look up Blake or Blake Haywood, if you look up just Blake, you might not find me. It'd be really hard. But I'm on Facebook. You might need to be a little bit more specific. And this is kind of the part where I wanted to talk to people about how to use proper searches on Facebook.
I'm sorry, but we don't have time for that in this episode, so we're going to have to move that along a little bit.
Yeah, I do a little bit of Instagram stuff, not a ton, but I think I'm on there as Hey Blakey T. But then I also have my own freelance stuff that I do on just my own freelance business for design and stuff. It's called Be True Design. You can look up and get involved that way too, which is cool.
And you should also definitely check out, is it Ninth Mountain Threads something? Yes,
of course I missed that. Yes, Ninth Mountain Threads it's a fun t-shirt design business that I've a friend of mine, a mutual friend, Jake Herrenberg, and I have started. We do a lot of fun shirts. I think we have about 20 shirts right now, and we try to put out. We've actually been on a little bit of a break trying to get caught up with life events and stuff. But we're going to be. I know I'll say this. We're going to be doing a bit of a relaunch coming up in August, and with a couple of fun new T-shirts. A lot of them being very pop culture related, and a lot of fun T-shirts, and they're all through Threadless. Which Threadless, there's a lot of T-shirt design businesses out there, but one of the reasons why we like going through Threadless is they just have a really good quality of shirts, and they make them long. I'm someone that has a long torso, so I like that I can get a long torso shirt up at Threadless, because I don't get those very often. Just going to a local store getting a long torso shirt. So anyway, but they do a lot of good different styles and quality shirts there. So, but yeah, that website would be Ninth Mountain ninthmountain.threadless.com, but it's spelled 9thmt.threadless.com. 9thmt.threadless.com. And we might need to think of a better website, but you could search that on Instagram or on Facebook as well. Find Ninth Mountain Threads there.
Awesome. All right, so now let's dig into a little bit. We know you have that improv history, which, as I've mentioned in the other interviews, is something that's very important to me with D&D. But what about your D&D experience, Blake?
Oh, man. I'm not kidding. I have been doing D&D for, if you were to add up all of the time, you could, it's almost nothing. Like, you could fill a thimble with the amount of D&D experience that I have, and that would be I've done a little bit. I mean, obviously I've dabbled, we've done some D&D stuff with family, and then I've done a little bit of D&D stuff. I mean, I know what it is and everything.
You've watched Stranger
Things,
Things, you know.
Yeah, I've watched Stranger Things. Yeah, it's the game. It's the dicey, Tessel Hydra, Demogorgon, that kind of stuff. But I mean, yeah, I know what it is. I've not done a ton of experience playing. I've probably only played about 2 games.
Right.
So. If you're looking for a professional, I know.
All right. Well, tell me about your character.
My character that we came up with, and I'll be honest. At first, when I was coming up with the character, I was thinking, okay, I want this to be really funny. But wait, I know that there are some people that take D&D very seriously, so maybe I need to back down on the funny. And then I thought, but it's still going to be funny because I know a lot of the guys that are doing this whole podcast adventure with us, and they're really funny. Oh, shoot. So I decided to go with funny. So, but it starts out really cool, but I really like it. So my character is a dragonborn monk, which that's just really fascinating to me. And then I'm about to out myself on how much I know about D&D. Are there professions? Or is it, I mean, I know he's a monk.
Well,
but is he like a jewel?
There can be subclasses, but we won't delve into that until there's a lot of levels gained and stuff like that. So don't worry about it yet.
Okay, maybe he'll be a magician. I don't know. Anyway, so he's not doing real like the Ant-Man magician up close with playing cards. Anyway. Kids' parties, stuff like that. Anyway, Dragonborn, his name is Davidicus Drimpulac. And that's short, Davidicus, which you can call him Dave for short.
And that is spelled Daeve, because, fantasy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, this is not like a modern thing, we got to make sure that we're placing it in the right time zone. So Dave, there's the unnecessary Old English letters that are used.
Awesome. Now, I know that you've been working on a voice for Dave. Can we get a little preview?
Yes, for sure. So I'll introduce myself like I am Davidicus Drimpulac. The last name, by the way, is just I'm still getting used to the last name, but Davidicus for sure. Okay, hi, good, nice to meet you. I'm Davidicus Drimpulac. I'm a dragonborn monk. And that basically means that before I was born, one of my moms, well, I only had one mom as far as I know, but my mom and my dad, one of them was not a human, and one of them was a human, and the one that was not a human, she was actually a dragon, or he was a dragon. 'Cause I don't really know, because I was found at this monk palace, and that's how I became a monk. I think that maybe my mom was a little embarrassed because she thought, hey, I don't want my son to be half human, or I don't want my son to be half dragon, so she just abandoned me. I love her dearly still, so it's okay. But anyway, so that's where I come from, is it's kind of a weird story. I don't want to go into the gross details of how that works, because there's biology and grossness. But anyway, I'm Dragonborn, and that's me, Davidicus. But you can call me Dave. Davidicus is kind of a long name. I don't even know what it means.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Blake.
That's David.
I am very, very much looking forward to seeing more of Davidicus in the future.
Yeah. I'm excited. I got to say as well, as I've been kind of studying what Davidicus might look like, I thought, this is what I want him to be. I want him to be this kind, he's a monk, so he's going to be a fighter, but I want him to be this laid-back kind of hillbilly kind of guy. And which I've already kind of had that character in mind for other stuff anyway, so it was fun to bring it to the character. But then searching just going to Google Images and searching Dragonborn monk and seeing these really awesome looking Dragonborn things, thinking that doesn't fit, which made me want to do it more.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you, Blake, and we look forward to seeing where this character can take us.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Woo!